There's a chance you might hear my kids. I just threw them in bed, so we'll see if they stay.
Christy's the only one who's finished with her doohickey.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
Hey, I barely have gotten started, so don't feel bad.
Yeah, but if we just follow the same template as we did the first one, we should be good.
Yeah. I came up with my 4 reasons. We can talk about those later, though.
Yeah.
We need to get through our discussion first.
Let's do that. So it starts off by, imagine you are Merton and it's time for your 9 a.m. meeting with Tevins and Harris. What position would you advocate in that meeting?
I say fire the guy.
Oh, I say don't fire the guy.
Did you read the memo about it's like the 3rd time in a year that he's done something like this?
Yeah, I read that, but maybe I'm just.
She's too big of a softie.
I think maybe just more training, because it sounds like to me, like a supervisor. What did it say? It said he told him. Let me see.
Repeatedly.
He's warned Ned several times, but he just hasn't gotten the message. Like, have you just warned him, or like, has there been training? Like, maybe he doesn't realize the things he's doing are dangerous, or maybe he's just not recognizing all the issues. Like, maybe there wasn't training in place, but I could be wrong.
So, what did Step and Kick actually do, and how serious is that offense?
Let's see. Well,
just so we understand the point.
A 2nd-degree burn's pretty serious, especially on the hand and forearm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I could lose his ability to work. He didn't make sure the area was safe for the guy to work in.
Yeah, it also says, so going along with training, it says, does the fault fall entirely on Step and Kick?
You know, I feel like the employee has a little bit to hold there too, because he's an intelligent person. He or she is an intelligent person that could have looked around and knew it was unsafe. And, but I mean, as the supervisor or whatever he was, he does have more blame, I suppose. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree with you. I feel like, even without training, there's common sense. And I'm not saying that. Even there's some people who just don't get that, who just don't understand.
You read the whole report too, as she says, some of the employees go, as long as the managers aren't taking safety seriously, why should we?
Yeah, then they don't have to.
Because they say we'll try. Some of the employees have mentioned that they tried to. They'll say, but I shouldn't do that, and then there's the whole process of they're supposed to go through the different, call this if there's a disagreement between an employee and a supervisor and all, and they go, yeah, but most of the time it doesn't work. So someone always overrules them so that they've gotten to where they don't even complain anymore.
Yeah, so there's common sense, but then at the same time, you wonder as far as like using equipment on any job site or using just...
It's like what they started with the guy getting hit by the forklift.
Yeah.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's not... it was obviously an accident, but...
I don't know if either one of y'all have ever been in a manufacturing plant.
Yes.
It's like people, even when you're at Home Depot, you get aggravated when they block off the aisle that's your aisle. You need to get a hold of something. But at the same time, you have to understand why they're doing it. It's to keep everybody safe.
Exactly. So it says, what are the implications for workers, families, supervisors, and senior management if he does get fired? And what kind of message would that send? So I guess those two questions go together.
I'm sure they take it a lot more seriously. That would definitely send a message.
Yeah, I think the rest of the managers would get the hint. And I think maybe like we were talking earlier, you were talking about just the verbal warnings. Maybe there needs to be a more set process of, okay, you get a verbal warning. Next time you get a letter of a reprimand or something on your record.
And you need to redo training if there was any training. And if there wasn't training, then that needs to be set up.
Maybe there needs to be a process saying, okay, you've been reprimanded and you have to go through remedial training or something.
Yeah, so I don't remember if it said, did it say anything about training in the
They were saying
Whether
like
there was
they were
or
doing
not.
training every 6 months.
Okay, that's what I thought.
But I think it's more of a routine safety training.
Which is normal for most
places.
workplaces. I mean, they cycle through. I worked at a junkyard, well, salvage yard, and we had meetings every Monday morning, and we'd go over like different safety topics like throughout the
they were talking about too that they had a because I put that in my solutions too for our thing is they have a committee that's supposed to review incidences and see if there's ways to improve safety.
Yeah.
I know when I worked in the supply squadron, we had to have back training once a year.
What was that? What kind of training?
Back. So you don't throw your back out, because you can actually throw your back out bending over to pick up a dime if you do it incorrectly. It doesn't have to be something heavy. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, I never thought of that. So the training was actually good. They probably should have done it more than just in the supply squadron.
Yeah, especially when that's a huge part of what you do. So would it be fair to fire, step, and kick, considering how the other supervisors also treat safety issues? So I think you're right that it would send a message to both management and other workers. But would it be fair to use just surprised him as an example rather than...
After Powell's death, which only happened in May, and then this incident where we're talking about her, her going to work is in September. We're only talking 3 months. You'd think they'd all be a little more safety conscious after losing somebody just 3 months ago. And not taking things so lackadaisical. Usually, after years, it's like the hurricane cycles. If we go 5 to 10 years without one, nobody takes them seriously. And then we have a really bad one, and then everyone panics for the next 2 or 3. And then it kind of, but I'm surprised they're not still in panic mode.
Yeah. So, it says step 2 is showing what the data shows. It's funny, this part says put students into 3 groups.
I know. I pre-read that. I didn't read it in detail this time.
Yeah,
but it's
it says if there are enough people, but we're not. Well, yeah, we're just gonna skip that part. So the whole thing is going in. It says compare exhibits 3 and 7 to answer questions. When safety improves, does productivity decrease? So
I don't think it actually did it?
Yeah. No, not in this case, but
yeah.
Just in general, what do you think happens when safety improves? How do you think that affects productivity? Not just here, but anywhere.
I would think it would improve productivity.
That's how I feel.
Because it should improve the quality of the product itself, shouldn't it?
Yeah, because if you talk about the forklift, you could argue, well, going faster, though it's not as safe, it'll get the job done faster. And let's say you do all those things and you don't have an accident, that's increasing productivity because you're getting things done faster. But when you decrease and you say, okay, now you have to go 2 miles an hour.
Yeah, they were saying they put governors that none of them could go over 4.
Yeah.
And they actually they did that after the incident with Powell, and they haven't lost productivity.
Yeah.
They were, I thought it was funny was when they first brought it up to one section's like, no, not unless it's going to be factory wide, because they were more worried about being criticized for going slow.
Yeah, because I work on campus and we take equipment all over campus and we drive basically a side by side, and we're not allowed to go faster than walking speed.
Yeah, about 4 or 5 miles an hour.
3 to 5. So it's like 3 to 5. And so some would argue, well, that decreases productivity because then it takes us, we might as well walk because that takes us just as long to get there if we have to go walking speed. Which is true for some cases, but in other cases where we're carrying lots of equipment or we're carrying heavy equipment, walking speed is actually faster.
Not to mention that if any of you messed your back up toting stuff.
Exactly.
Then that would be, somebody wouldn't be there, which means you'd get further down on the wait list to have your repairs done.
Yeah, so that's what I think would be the point of that question.
I was thinking that's kind of the same with, it's weird to think of it this way, but the analogy of morning traffic, you know, if everybody would obey the rules, there would be no accidents and everyone would get to work on time. But it only takes one accident that can tie up traffic in a major city for anywhere from 3 to 6 hours, especially if there's a fatality.
Mm-hmm.
So it says, what? Yeah, I totally agree. It says, what can you learn about safety at Mission Valley from the list in Exhibit 6 of sample injuries?
They were across the board, weren't they, all kinds?
Yeah, it says just to look for common themes and causes, and then it says, what could you learn from these sample
A lot of it's
injuries?
just inattention to detail, isn't it?
Yeah, most of them are accidents that could have easily been avoided if it was, if, like you said, if you took a little bit more time and you weren't so worried about speed.
Mm-hmm.
Like the forklift, for example, the burns, you look at the top of the list. Yeah, most of these are just pretty much
not following all the safety rules. Like some of them, it's like if they had their gloves on.
Yeah, just simple things like that. And
or their goggles. I've been, like I said, I worked one time in a plant like that, and it's a pain to have to be your safety goggles and your gloves, and then sometimes if you're doing electronics or something, you're tethered to something that grounds you. You just feel so encumbered.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you have to tell yourself it's for your safety and everyone around you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like we talked about, like some people can argue that safety makes things go slower, but as we've seen in all these examples, that simple attention to detail, it's actually when you get injured, you're slowing the process literally to a halt. So
because if you're out of work, you put a burden on everyone else.
Mm-hmm. Your family and anyone you're providing
which
for.
kind of like does that snowball effect then, because they're under more pressure, then they have safety accidents too, and it just snowballs.
Yeah, so not just your family, but also like the people who have to pick up your slack, like you were saying.
Right.
At work. I mean, that happens tons of times because I was a warehouse worker at this salvage yard that I used to work at a couple of years ago, and I was the only warehouse guy. And then I got promoted, well, not really promoted, but I got moved to delivery driver and like parts manager. So then I was just doing deliveries and I was face to face with people. But then our warehouse guy who took my place got injured and I had to do all of it. So I had to do the warehouse and I had to do deliveries. I had to do parts managing, inventory, things like that. So yeah, you definitely, which makes it actually more dangerous in the long run because then I have to worry about the safety in the warehouse, the safety in, deliveries, the safety in inventory. So it's like you're putting a lot of responsibility on one person, and that's makes it more likely for you to have, mess up or have an issue where, safety isn't paid as much attention to.
Oh, crap. I accidentally muted you, Fallergene. I can't figure out how to undo it.
We'll do this. If you just click on her profile, you should be able to. Oh, there you go.
Did I get her back?
It says Christy Harmon blocked Fallergene Berry. Do you want?
I was trying to get something off my screen, and I did something, and now I can't figure out how to do it. Undo it. So there's a little flag that came up. No, I cancel. I can't cancel.
I don't know where don't know where like the block button would be, but
oh, crap. Oh, man. I was just trying to get something off my screen.
Trying to figure out how to do it on mine so I could figure out if we could undo it, but
yeah. How do I unblock you? Oh man. It won't even let me click on anything anymore.
Yeah, it's interesting because I didn't block her, but I can't hear her anymore. And it says she's not muted on mine.
I can't do anything. Okay, what if I leave the call and come back? Then maybe it'll reset it. Or maybe settings? Oh, let's check settings. No, that's not. Okay, I'm gonna leave the call and see if I can come back, okay? See if that does anything. I'll be back.
Can you hear me? Okay, yeah, I can't hear you, but yeah, I'm not sure what happened because now I can't hear you. Well, now I think I can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Okay.
So
When she muted me, I hit the mute button on my headset.
oh,
And I undid the one on the screen. So
I'm re-inviting her. Um, did you catch anything of what I was saying before? Did I?
yeah, I could hear you fine. And then all of a sudden she goes, I muted Fowler. So I guess my mouth was moving, but because she can see me. Hey, why don't we get to see you?
Yeah, I don't. My camera's broken, and I haven't gotten a new one yet.
Oh. Like, why are you hiding, Skylar?
Yeah, I'm on that college budget, so
you should be okay on finishing up the doohickey this weekend, right?
yeah, I'll jump on that today and tomorrow, and
I'll try to get mine in tonight because I'm going out of town tomorrow.
Okay. So just make sure to look over it. I will do the same with everyone else's, and just make sure if you see any typos or something's not flowing. Again, just compare it to our last one.
I did the intro from last time and just changed our top 3.
Yeah, that's all we're supposed to do. So.
And are we supposed to do the same 3, or are we supposed to do the one that we think is the most important again first? So safety is probably the most important, right?
Yeah, safety and is it safety and training? I should know. This is my topic.
Oh no, it's mine.
Oh, that's right. What did? I did career development and.
Yes. So we have yours. Yours is last, and we have recruiting second.
Perfect. Yeah, I like that. So we'll just do it like that. And yeah, I will.
Yeah, I have mine as do that this weekend. I guess it could be safety and health, but I just put just safety.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
And I came up with for my 4 resolutions. So far I've come up with policy, a safety committee, reporting, and then last is enforcement.
Perfect. I like that.
Sound good?
Sounds good to me.
Not bad for only a few hours worth of work. I've been trying to concentrate on my what do you call it? My stupid anatomy class. I've been going to the library and locking myself at the library.
Yeah.
Because when you're doing something boring, you just want to, you'd rather do housework or anything else.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to message her individually, but I can't.
You should be able to just invite her again, right?
Yeah, I invited her, but it doesn't look like she's jumping back on. So Google Plus. I thought I could just.
Oh. Where'd you go, Christy? Maybe send her an email. Ask her, are you coming back? Maybe. Do we need to? Yeah, I always try to have everything up. I have the drive up. I have.
Just sending it to the group chat, I guess.
Okay. Did she come back? I see something that says Skylar in group hangout. Did you get it figured out? It's showing her on the message.
Yeah, and I sent her another invite. I just she's not popping back up. Sometimes if you leave the group, you can't come back in. But, so that would be unfortunate, but to me,
I sent her my solution from there. I don't know if that'll help any.
Yeah.
She left about the same time I sent the other one. It's like, do we need to go out and come back in?
Yeah.
It's like I've been putting my link down in the comments, and then I read this time that you're supposed to put in your document.
Yeah.
I did do my heart wasn't in my report last week, but I did it. I had to give my 10-year goal.
What it takes, you know, sometimes you just got the power.
My daughter taught me that, and she, you know, she's graduated now and been working about 5 years. But she told me, she goes, when you're in college, she goes, you submit something even because a 30 is better than a 0.
It's true. Yeah. Especially when it's all overall points. It's not necessarily like, well, it kind of is individual grades, but at the same time, it's, like you said, some points are better.
But I submitted it. I told him my practical plan, and then I said my dream thing would be work at Disney. Remember, like I told you guys.
Mm-hmm.
And then in my comments, I says, when you're 56, almost 57 years old, it's hard to think about a 10-year plan.
Yeah.
He goes, yeah, age is relative, isn't it?
It's unfortunate Veterans Day is on a Saturday this year.
Oh, that's okay. They're celebrating. I think they're giving people Monday off in the military.
That's awesome.
Yeah, my husband's birthday's tomorrow, so that's we're disappearing this weekend.
Yeah, I like it because I normally would just get school off and go out with my grandpa, and it's a fun day. So
Rachel works at a high school, and they always do a thing. They'll probably do it Friday. They might do it Monday, but they always have an assembly, and they honor all the veterans, and they even talk about like. They kind of will say something about me and her dad, because we were both military.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So, yeah, she always gives a lecture at the beginning of the year when they don't want to stand for the national anthem or whatever. She tells them they'll do it in her class.
So I'm not hearing anything back from her.
Okay.
We'll just keep going, and she can jump back in. I mean, she's done the reading, so I'm not too worried about her.
Did we get?
I sent her an email as well, so.
Okay.
I mean,
so where were we at? Did we go through all our group things?
Yeah.
We were almost done anyway, weren't we? Getting close.
Yeah. So it says step 4. Ask what has Mission Valley done in the past to improve its safety record? So much that they have so few serious injuries compared to with other similar companies. So what have they done differently to lower their injury rate?
I think the committee was one thing, right?
That was a big part, yeah.
And they have contractors and, hired workers. I think making it diverse, and I think also making the supervisors walk the floor.
Yeah, especially when you make it so specific and you dedicate like a specific group of people to safety.
Right.
Their job is to look around and see what needs to be improved. Obviously, things will start to improve really quick. So.
And I think that having the critical behavior checklist, where you have one person observe somebody else, and they were training them to do that, even if they weren't official observers. And then they would submit it. They say anonymous, that the observer didn't have to necessarily have to have their name on it if they saw incidents. Yeah. I think that's another good thing about reporting. Sometimes it should be anonymous, that you have seen a pattern in your section, maybe. That way it's not pointing to any one person, maybe.
Yeah.
I think walking the floor, though, is a really good one. But I did like the committee too, that goes out and tries to come up with. In the military, that's one, and they do it with more than just safety with it. Like they have those safety incidences. There would have to be a review board to see why that happened, and try to look for ways to prevent it in the future. It's like a lot of things in life. Sometimes it seems like the housekeeping portion is a pain, but in the long run, it saves you time. Yeah. Like people don't want to do a budget, but if you do a budget, you save yourself money in the long run, which gives you the ability to do more things.
Yeah. I'm going to try and, well,
You wanna close it all and then send it out again?
I would. She just needs to unblock you, so she needs to go to Google Hangouts, go to settings, and then unblock you because it won't let her back in because she blocked you. So it says someone
So
you blocked.
I could drop out for a little bit and you can talk to her, I guess, and walk her through it. You want me to do that?
Yeah. Let me email her first and let her know that I'm going to try that.
I mean, I got to try to figure out how to get out of this. How do I get out without just close it?
Yeah, if you just the bottom right, it should say leave meeting. You should be able to do it that way.
Huh. Because when I click on me, it just says profile or mute.
Oh, really? Yeah, because in the bottom of mine, or I guess at the top, you can leave the call. At the top where you mute yourself or turn her on or off your screen, you can just drop out of the meeting.
And he has us doing a self-evaluation on each other again, but
which is fine. I mean, 3 points. I'll give you guys all hundreds.
But he didn't. He hasn't graded the one from last time.
Oh, really? I thought he had on mine.
Huh. I don't have anything. It just has a little dash. Not that I need the points. This class is the business classes. I guess is because of all my leadership training in the military.
Mm-hmm.
They're all so easy. I shouldn't say that, but now the healthcare ones drive me nuts. And there's only one professor who teaches them, and me and him butt heads.
That's unfortunate.
Well, he makes this big deal about everything's different in healthcare.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not. Management's kind of management, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Accounting is accounting. Yes, you have some extra procedures, but
yeah,
it's still accounting. I only have one more class with him, though.
That's nice.
But I just couldn't face him and physiology at the same time. I can squeak out C's on these two classes. I only have economics and managing a healthcare facility. So you want me to hang out?
Yeah, if you want to jump out, I'll send her another invite. If you don't hear anything back from me, like an email in like a couple minutes, and just try to jump back on, I'll send you another invite.
Okay.
Awesome.
Did that close it? I think
no.
so. No. Let's see if I just close.
Is it going to let me join now?
Yeah, she dropped out. So it says you don't have any blocked people?
Yeah, it says no blocked people. Like, that was the first thing I tried, and I've been trying it. But still, when I try and join, it just says you blocked someone in this call.
That's so weird.
I know.
Oh,
man. I was just trying to wipe something off my stupid phone.
That's unfortunate.
Very unfortunate.
Okay, that's not what I meant.
Can I invite her to the call? I don't know.
So let me just try and show you though. Let's get out there. So I went to just over here. You probably did this, but just in case. And then I just went to Hangouts.
Mm-hmm.
And then here in settings, I just blocked people right here.
Yep, that's where I've been going.
Okay, that's a bummer. That's all I can think of.
I know. I'm like, let
me try and add her again. I just hope it doesn't mute everything.
Let's see.
She also muted her mic, and so she might have that might have also been part of the issue as well. So you might have unblocked her right away, and then she was still muted. So
No, I wonder if I could join the call as my husband. Hmm. Okay, if I can't do anything else, I'll try and join as my husband.
I'm gonna have her try and join again, and then we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, so it won't let her back in.
Let me see if I add her to my contacts, if maybe it'll recognize her. Okay. Okay. Make her our contact. That help? Okay. Let me try to be my husband. Yeah.
Yeah, because if you do that, then I might be able to just add his email or whatever it is, and
Yeah. Trying to figure out what his email is. It's like 3. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna give you his email. Actually, do you want me to message it to you or?
Yeah, just in this chat if you want. If you want to just put it in this group chat right now, then I can just copy and paste it into.
Okay.
Then I can just kick you out of the group and she can get back in.
Yeah. Okay, I sent it. Do you see it?
Okay, what is going on? This better be important at Gmail.
Yeah.
Okay. Copy. Paste.
Okay.
Okay, sent that one.
Okay.
screenshot so it doesn't echo.
Oh yeah.
Eject.
There we go. Okay.
And then Fowler Jean. The hardest part is like when we first got together, I didn't know like if that was like her first name or like her last name first, her middle name, and then you know what I mean? Like I didn't know.
Hi.
Yay!
Welcome back.
I'm really so sorry, guys.
Oh,
I said,
it's
Christy,
totally
just tell
fine.
me how you feel. You don't have to block me.
I can't unblock you. Like, it shows that I have no blocked people, but I try and join the conversation.
Well, it's like I had to close that one. 'Cause even when your husband had joined, because I'm assuming he's John, I
Yeah.
was still showing the one where you were in it, and I'm guessing that's why I couldn't get back in either.
Yeah.
So I had to close everything, and restart.
So
Alright.
real quick, we'll shift gears. We've got the main idea. It's basically, does improving safety decrease productivity? We've proven that it doesn't.
Oh, I like the bottom ones. Do you always wear your seatbelt?
Yeah. Do you
Crosswalk.
avoid texting in dangerous places?
I am guilty of some of those, like not always using the crosswalk
Yeah. Or using a ladder instead of a chair?
or climbing on the table, whatever, you know.
Yeah. Okay. So my so we'll just move into this last part about her safety plan, 1992 safety plan. So which parts of her plan will help the company get to its goal?
Is her plan Exhibit 10
I think so.
or 11?
That safety problem resolution. It's Exhibit 11.
Oh, okay.
I was surprised it was so simple.
Yeah.
I like the recognition program.
Yeah. I mean, I assume they're gonna kind of make it more detailed as they go on, but
Yeah. So what
Yeah, I
things
think-
do you guys like
think
about
these-
it?
I
What
think these
what
were
are
just-
good things about it? So
These were kind of just
recognition.
goals, weren't they,
Yeah.
for this year? Because they actually have a big plan, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think the recognition would be a good one.
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
So let's see what it asks about.
I guess
like
they did the reporting procedure.
What were you gonna say, Christy?
I was just gonna say I like that they meet with the superintendents to review safety performance. I mean, it shows that they take it seriously and that they train the committee leaders. I think just the reporting and the training and like the making sure it's implemented.
We talked about that while you were gone. That having the superintendents walk through, do the walkthroughs once a week to look for stuff.
Yeah.
So based on her plan, my assignment this week is to make revisions to it, to then explain why I took things out. I mean, it's simple as it is, like you guys said. So I'll take things out that don't make sense. I'll keep things in that do make sense.
I don't see where a safety letter, a bi-weekly news safety letter, it would help much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would think what we were talking about, like if we didn't just fire the guy, that there's procedures like, you might get a verbal warning and then a written warning, and there might be a process to you being eliminated if you're not following. So that people know that if you keep doing this and you keep getting warned that something's going to happen.
Yeah. So what other things would you guys take out? Or revise? I guess it doesn't need to just be removed, but what would you change to make better, or what would you remove altogether?
What is this stage 3 training that they're talking about? You guys know?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I don't know. I think the rest of
yeah.
Well,
not
I don't know. I
saying
think I'd keep everything.
Yeah.
What was that?
But
I mean,
think I'd keep everything.
Yeah,
Go
I
ahead.
mean, I've seen like monthly newsletters. When we were in the military, they used to call them what were the Darwin Awards.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard of Darwin
Yeah.
Awards before?
Yeah.
People who do stupid stuff. So maybe if they do die, it's gonna improve improve the species.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What was bad is I actually knew a guy who managed to make it into one. He would put a match more than one set of match books in his pocket, and they would connect with one another, and he caught his pants on fire.
I shouldn't laugh, but that is special.
Yeah, the security guy who walks up and he smells gasoline, but he can't see, so he strikes a match to see where the smell's coming from.
Oh my god.
As we said, common sense sometimes, people, right?
Yeah. It's simple, but maybe too simple.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
The bi-weekly letter, yeah.
Yeah, or just her plan altogether. Like if you were gonna have goals, or plans, they need to be a little bit more
concrete.
Yeah, or just explained a little bit better.
And have some form of follow-up, maybe, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Conduct stage 3 training, like you said, that doesn't really make much sense.
Yeah. I mean, it might make sense in the company, but...
Yeah. But for us, if we were to make it general so that if anybody saw it, they would understand what it is, like a safety plan should be like...
Yeah, that even the janitor understand what...
Yeah.
The janitor understands what's going on.
Improve safety committee operations, better information, train committee leaders at crew level. Yeah. Establish safety recognition program. That's good. Meet with superintendents on a monthly basis. Like you said, we'd have them walking the floor. Things. Cool. Yeah, I like that. Anything else that you guys thought was good, or anything you would revise?
Well, maybe instead of the newsletter, because that's something. If it's email, you just put it in your spam, or if they hand it out, you just never look at it. Maybe something that's like visible all the time, like I don't know, you hang it on the wall, or just some sort of other medium.
Yeah, most plants usually have, like in the doohickey report, they're talking about number of days without an accident.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe there should be something more like if every month that there's not an accident, they do something like an ice cream party or pizza party or something for a division or something.
Yeah, I guess put that along with, combine that with
the recognition program.
And just do public awareness, like you guys are saying, instead of like a newsletter that someone's going to just throw away. You could say,
but like we're saying,
or monthly post on like a huge poster, just say.
To me, like we were saying, there's nothing that really establishes, what do you call it, enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's fine. You can make all the rules in the world, but if you're not going to back them up where there's a consequence when you don't do things.
Yeah, follow up.
Yeah. Some kind of
fall under the reporting procedure, but it should definitely be spelled out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Surprise inspections.
Yeah.
Well, they were showing that we were talking about earlier where they were having the people do their safety reports on each other, observing each other.
Yeah.
So maybe they should do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
the military, we have something called stand board for people who have dangerous jobs, like in communications and electricity and things like that. And they have to be inspected usually once a year at least on their job. They give them a task and they watch them do it to make sure they know the procedures.
I'm sure they have cameras and stuff too that they can just like keep an eye on employees, like going along with like what you said is like surprise inspections, just like one day going over the camera and just say, well, this is what we're seeing, and then surprise. So
Yeah, maybe the recognition program shouldn't be just about rewards. They should also go over areas that need to be improved. Like everyone's doing a lot better, and here are the safety awards, but let's go over some of our trouble problems so we can be safer next year or whatever, you know.
Yeah, another way to follow up.
Yep.
Areas for improvement, follow up. I like that. Reporting procedure.
Do a skit of somebody doing something stupid.
Yeah.
Like they do for kids right before prom. You know how they'll bring in a banged up car to show how drinking and driving is stupid.
Yeah.
As a visual reminder to remind you don't do these things.
Yeah. So along with the monitoring, so it says monitor complete implementation of recommendations on falls. What would you replace falls with to make it more complete?
On-site accidents.
Yeah.
Yeah, falls is one of their biggest areas, though. It's like even the one we just saw.
Yeah.
He lost his footing, and that caused him to burn his arm. Falls don't. Yeah. So falls don't necessarily mean falling from a high area and hurting yourself.
I just mean I want to make sure that because I have to change it basically and make it better. So I just need to figure out, should I replace that with like on-site injuries, or should I keep it at falls and add something else to include other injuries, or how would you guys do it?
And maybe they should keep a running list and have, follow-ups on the top 5 or problems or something.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, maybe add more to make it more inclusive.
What was that?
Said maybe just add more to make it more inclusive. Add more to the list.
Yeah, some of these safety reports are just horrible.
Yeah.
Beating the top of the mortar mixer with a crowbar and missing and hitting the blade.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe people who have been involved in safety incidents need to, when they have meetings, explain why they did what was stupid and why they shouldn't do it again.
Yeah.
Like that's how we used to do with our children when they did something wrong. They had to explain what they did wrong and why it was wrong, so that that you knew that they understood the concept, right?
You know what kills me? I'll tell my kids not to do something like don't climb on that, you're gonna fall. Don't climb on that, you're gonna fall. And they just are like, oh, that's not gonna happen to me. I'm not gonna fall. Like, you gotta understand it can happen to you. You think you're invincible, but
yes,
not.
That's when you sit down and you go, if you did fall, what do you think would happen to you? And make them think of all the things that could happen if they fell.
Yeah.
My daughter tells me she hates the fact that I raised her with logic. Because I had one of those parents that didn't just tell you don't do something, they explained to you why you shouldn't do it. They took all the fun out of it.
Yeah.
It's like when I went in the military and they took my first safety briefing, I'm an office worker. Do you really think an office is not a safe place?
Yeah.
But you don't realize there are a lot of things like you can't put all the heavy files on the top or the file cabinet will fall over. Don't leave the bottom file cabinet open. Someone can trip. I had a watch that had like a safety chain so it wouldn't come off. And when computers came out and printers came out, I had to be careful. I had to take that off because you could get caught in the printers and yank it off your arm.
Yeah.
Supply racks you can catch your rings on.
Or ladders.
Yes. So you should have, even at church, people will be doing stuff because, we're doing our new building and people will be on a ladder and I'm like, you need someone to spot you. And they go, oh, I'm fine. And you're like, no, you should have someone spot you when you're on a ladder.
Yeah.
To make sure the ladder doesn't start wobbling and things.
So to wrap up, what did you learn from this case that you maybe didn't think about before? Like what can you apply to workplaces that you've been in?
I think, like we were saying, sometimes it's the simplest things that can cause problems.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were talking about, the people objecting to not wanting their rings.
Yeah.
But they didn't realize, how unsafe it was. Or we were talking about slowing down the forklifts. That's a simple solution, and you think it's going to mess with productivity, but it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I feel like I just learned how important a role leadership and management has. You think people would use common sense and want to be safe for their own selves, but sometimes they need to feel like they have the support of their leaders, and everybody's doing the same.
Yeah, as like they were saying, is it important to management? Then it's not important to you, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, that is the end of our discussion. So for the doohickeys, let's just make sure we get it done this weekend. I speak mainly for myself, but
yeah, I'll try to make sure mine will definitely be done before I leave tomorrow.
Awesome. And then Christy, I was just saying to Fowler Jean that just basically, if you have time, go through once you've seen that people have put theirs in, and just make sure we'll catch each other's, typos or things like that after it flows. But
she corrected stuff that I was quoting from other people last time, so we know she will.
That's awesome. So they were
typing errors, but that's the way they wrote it, Christy. So I had left it. But when you changed it, I'm like, oh well.
Sorry, I read a lot of my husband's papers, and I go through and I do that to his.
Yeah, I loaded the Grammarly, and it actually does a really good job. Makes typing emails faster. It'll give you suggestions and finishes your sentences for you. So you don't have to think about it anymore. Hey, I think that's kind of the problem, though, with safety right now. We were talking about how people don't really think about how they affect other people when they do something stupid. We were talking about that at lunch. They're having a problem down here in Tampa with hepatitis A at the restaurants.
That's
they're just as dangerous as the people doing mass shootings, because you don't wash your hands when you go to the bathroom, and you come back and you make hundreds of people sick. And some can die.
Yeah.
Just because they're being selfish, not thinking about washing their hands. I don't get it, because they're going to make themselves sick too. So they've had 2 incidences in 1 month already. So scary.
Well,
I think we're done though, right?
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks, guys.
I will be on the road next Tuesday, but I should be able to do it from my phone. That's why another reason I was asking Christy.
If we can't, don't really worry about it. I guess doohickeys would be the only things we would talk about on Tuesdays, but we turn ours in on Monday, so I will just.
Yeah, we don't have another one till the next one's due on the 3rd of December.
Yeah, so just as long as one of us submits it on Monday, we'll be fine, and then we'll decide.
You were going to do it this time, right?
Yeah, I can do it.
Okay, and then Christy will do the last one.
Yeah.
Good.
That way we each did one.
Yeah, perfect.
Good.
All right.
Feel better.
Yeah, thank you. So posting this link.
Yeah, when you close it, it should take you to YouTube and show you the link.
Oh, perfect.
In your YouTube account. I usually just copy the thing from the top, and then I put it in my document or in my comments.
Awesome. I'll just add it to my assignment.
Okay.
Okay. See ya.
Y'all have a good weekend.
You too.
All right.
You
Bye.
too.